Alright guys, welcome to Tech Nostalgia's another video. This video is about the latest operating system that Apple has announced, and that's correct, it's iOS 26. Alright, without wasting any time, let's get into this video. Alright guys, so before we dive into this operating system, I want to show you some quick features of iOS 17 and how they have changed in iOS 18 and how they are reverted back, and some of them are like improved in iOS 26, that is iOS 19. Okay, on iOS 17, the first thing, the control center has less transparency. That means you can see the buttons and it is more boxier. And another great feature about this is that you can swipe down from the top right corner, but if you want to close it, you can close it like from anywhere. So between the buttons and anywhere you slide it up, and that's not a problem at all. The icons are more boxier, right? And the second thing is on the home screen, when you tap and hold, it gives you option directly to add the widgets from top left corner, and there's no customization option. When you swipe left to right from the main home screen, it gives you an effect of where the apps are still there and the widget panel slides on top of it, and the apps just goes backward and it just blurs out the apps. So the widget panel is overlapping on the home screen. Another thing is the camera app. It is still same since I think iOS 7. There's like minor tweaks here and there, but yes, it is still the view and the design, the layout, everything is like more or less same as it is running since iOS 7. So coming on to iOS 18, on the home screen itself, if you swipe left to right, the widget panel slides the home screen right, and it still gives like a blur effect. It's not pushing the apps into another layer in the background. In iOS 18, every single person that I know who has used this operating system had this problem. It is of closing the control center. So once you swipe down from top right corner and then you want to close it, you're used to swiping it up from anywhere on the screen as it is in iOS 17. But in iOS 18, once you do it from anywhere on the screen, it swipes up and then it goes to the second page. So if you want to close the control center in iOS 18, then you have to swipe up the navigation bar. That is very frustrating and very annoying at times. I have noticed that to access the control center on iOS 18 devices, I have to adjust my hand and reach out for the top right corner. If I want to close it, I do have to readjust the grip and then swipe up the navigation bar, and that gets quite annoying at times when you want to quick access something, or you just want to check something and you just want to turn off the Bluetooth, or you want to turn on the Wi-Fi, and you do it and then now you want to close it. Now at that point it gets inconvenient. From the home screen, when you press and hold and there's the edit button, you can do the customization of the icons. So here they have the light mode, dark mode, and then an automatic, and there's a large or small icons option. You can tint it and it will automatically tint your icons according to the wallpaper color, and you can move it around, change it around, and even your widgets will get colored. You can add some widgets on the home screen. There's always on display. Similar way, you can add widgets on the home screen and then you can add it, you can customize their color, and I do prefer my phone in original colors, so it gives me a vibe of iPhone. Okay, another thing, camera app has like literally no change, and maybe like minor things that I have not even noticed. It's still same as iOS 17. Alright guys, so finally the moment that we have been waiting for, we're diving into iOS 26. I am installing iOS 26 on the phone, and if you haven't checked out the video, you can check out how to install it. I'll put a link in the description. The first look on iOS 26 is that it welcomes you with a glassy font that looks like water droplets shaped into font, and it's written. It's like one of those when you put your phone on next to the sink and you wash your hands, and there are some droplets on the phone. It feels like that, but just in like actual letters. Okay, everything and all the buttons feels more rounded, and on top of that I just noticed the glitch that the Face ID background just disappeared out of nowhere. Of course, it is a beta version, so that's why there will be so many glitches in it, and there might be some features that are missing from it. This is a liquid glass theme, so I'm guessing that there will be a lot of transparency intentionally, nothing like Apple has ever done before. It is something new, unique, but it is a very bold step for a company to take a transparent theme and put it into their operating system where icons are not visible. Alright, the first thing that I noticed is the unlock animation is different, and also all the icons look very same. Also the dock is more transparent, and then it feels like glass. What they're mentioning is just more transparent to me. Widgets are a little more rounded. Once you slide the widget panel in the front, it again slides the home screen towards the right, so it just pushes it away, and then you can see the widget layout. Settings app, it's quite similar, but just a little refresh design, and there's one new wallpaper. I miss those days where Apple used to introduce a whole library of fresh wallpapers with a new fresh operating system. So time is stretchable. There's a button at the bottom right corner, and the time that you can press it and just pull it down and it'll stretch the time, and the wallpaper also adapts to it. Alright, so all the apps that have multiple tabs at the bottom now have a glassy bubble on the option that you have selected. As a phone app, where it shows the recents, favorites, and contacts and voicemail, so there's a glass bubble on top of it, and once you slide it around, it becomes a bubble, and it moves like it's like a liquid gel floating around under your hand. Another thing is the camera app is redesigned to make it simple for people who don't want a lot of options, and it is a more clear and organized app where there are only two modes, photo and video, and you won't be able to see anything else until you start swiping left or right. All the settings for the camera of exposure and modes and all kinds of stuff is available under the shutter button. Once you swipe up from the bottom, and you will be able to see like more controls for the camera. Okay, now it's time for the biggest mess that Apple have created in their 2025 event, and it is Control Center. You guessed it right. Okay, this transparency look of Control Center reminds me of the early days of iPhone and Androids, where people used to try to install an iPhone looking theme into their Android phones and install like a Control Center app. Looking at that problem, first thing came to my mind is how would it look like if I go into accessibilities and reduce the transparency. So that's what I did. I exactly went into the settings, look for the transparency options, and I reduced it, and that kind of fixes the problem, but it also defeats the purpose of having a liquid glass, because now the transparency is reduced. So that means it's iOS 18. Okay, another thing I wanted to check in this operating system is that if Apple solved the problem of closing the control center, if you can still swipe from anywhere and just close the control center, or it is going to go into the next page. But the control center problem is not fixed, but they have added another problem of transparency. So it's not just difficult to close, but it's difficult to use also because of the less transparency. So there are a couple of new apps. First is a preview app, and then there is a games app that used to be a game center, and then they discontinued it. And there will be another video where I will introduce you to all the features that Apple have discontinued, and they have reintroduced it with a new name. So just like how Game Center is now Games, and crossfade is auto mix. I even have crossfade in iPod Nano 7th generation, and that was a very big feature of iPods. And also for people who are using Android will know that Apple Music app on Android has the crossfade option inbuilt from so long. So crossfade is already available on Android version of the Apple Music app, but it is not available on iOS. It is just introduced now, and it is a big feature of Android application from so many years. Why not the Apple users have it yet? Okay, the mess that they created in iOS 18 with the Photos app, where you have to scroll all the way up and then now you want to see another album if you have a photo in the album or not. You had to close the whole thing, and it was just a whole mess. Everything was on one page. So now they have fixed that problem and separated the tabs again for all the photos and then for albums. Now it's time to show you the second biggest mess of this operating system. And yes, that is the clear transparent theme, where apps are not visible because it's transparent. It just blends with the background. Alright, once you press and hold on the home screen and then you go customization, and then there's obviously default, and there's a night and dark mode, and there's instead of like automatic, now there's always an auto, and then there's tinted, and then there's clear. So if you go tinted, then of course it will color your apps according to what you want or what the wallpaper is. But if you go clear, this is where Apple created a mess, that all the apps are just transparent and you just see the shapes, and it looks quite weird for the first look, but once you look closely, the details are insane. It looks very cool from close by, but it's very difficult to use. So all the widgets are transparent, all the buttons are transparent, and the app deleting button is also clear. The folders are clear. At a point it gets a little messier. Okay, if you put the reduced transparency, even the folder background is also removed, and that means you cannot see anything in the back. So this makes it easier for the content of the folder to be seen. Make more sense this way. By reducing the transparency, control center, camera controls, dock, and search bar, spotlight, everything just gets more separated from the background, and the glass effect is gone, and it is more clean, and it's more usable, but it defeats the purpose of having a liquid glass again. Okay, another thing is, once you take a screenshot, you have the first thing it gives you is the option to switch back to the thumbnail view. That means the screenshot will just appear in the corner and it will just disappear. Once you tap on it, there are some useful options, and for the latest version of operating systems, there will be AI search for the screenshot. So okay, a couple of glitches that I noticed is when I placed my two iPhones next to each other while showing you the difference between iOS 18 and iOS 26, the iOS 18 phone kept recognizing it as someone else's phone and kept showing the nearby share animation non-stop. That was annoying. The second glitch that I noticed, that the search bar in the spotlight search on phone it keeps messing up the background. Of course it is a beta software, so you're of course looking for big improvements in the stability of the software. If you do install the beta version, then you're expecting some damage to your device. I did want you to see that if the problem of control center can be solved by removing all the other pages, and that's what I exactly did. I'm sure there will be some pages and there will be some forums, or there might be some discussions online that I could have seen, but I while shooting this video I realized that I can try that. So I deleted all the other pages and I tried to do that, and now at this point I can swipe up the control center from anywhere on the screen and it will close. That was just a random thought, and I think I found a solution to my own problem, but I'm sure there will be some people out there who will be facing this issue of closing the control center. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, then make sure you do subscribe the channel.